Creation Day 7. Creation is now complete. Genesis 2 begins with an account of Creation Day 7. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. The seventh day is unique. It is unique because the work is finished. The work that God set out to do is done. It has ended. Because the work is finished, God rested. God did not need to rest because he was tired. God rested because the work was complete. There were no loose ends that needed to be tied up. There were no problems that needed to be fixed. No modifications to the original plan were required. God rested because there was nothing more that needed to be done. This is a powerful argument against evolutionary doctrine, which says that creation is still a work in progress. The Bible tells us here that God's creation is perfect and complete. In just 6 days, God created utter perfection. But before we talk about the perfection of God's gigantic engineering project, we're going to take a brief look at some of man's engineering projects. It is very common in engineering organizations to spend a great deal of effort fixing things that were designed with the best intentions, but in the end did not work as expected. We have become accustomed to installing software updates in our devices, cell phones, TVs, DVD players, and personal computers. Product recalls are common in the toy industry, the auto industry, the appliance manufacturing industry, and many other businesses. We look at warranties and return policies before making a purchase to make sure we can get our money back in case a product doesn't work as advertised. We can readily agree that man's engineering attempts do not even come close to God's perfect success when he created the universe and everything in it. One of the most amazing things about God's creation is not only what he did on creation days 1 through 6, but it is the fact that on day 7, there was nothing to fix. Everything was perfect. All of the complex interactions between species and between plants and insects and fish and birds and animals, it all worked perfectly. The information stored in every tiny seed was 100% correct. Everything worked perfectly. There were no flaws. The words of Psalm 104:24 are a fitting description of this moment. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. The heavens and the earth were now complete. A whole universe existed where there had been nothing only a week earlier. It was a vast expanse full of countless wonders, each of which displayed the glory and wisdom of a good and perfect Creator. This is the whole thrust of the biblical creation account. God created the entire universe out of nothing, bringing it to utter perfection in 6 days. This time span is important because God accomplished all of His creative work in 1 week, not over a period of millions of years. The Bible emphasizes the pattern set out in the creation week, 6 days of work followed by a day of rest. This truth was even written into the 10 Commandments. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. This same pattern is also repeated in Exodus 31, where the first chapter of Genesis is reaffirmed that the days of creation were literal 24-hour days, not long ages. The creation week established a permanent pattern for the rhythm of all human life. God made us in His image, and He made us so that we thrive best with 1 day of rest after 6 days of work. Studies have shown that people show signs of fatigue and productivity suffers when there is 1 day of rest in 8 or 9 or 10 days. There is no other reason for the 7-day week. The year doesn't divide neatly into 7-day weeks. The only reason our calendars are divided into weeks is that God Himself established that pattern in His creation. Every week of our lives we go through a cycle that is intended by God to remind us that He created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. The 7th day is a reminder that God is our Creator. The glory of God's original creative work is tarnished by any theory that stretches creation out over long ages of time, because the evolutionary process would mean that God spent ages tinkering with His creation before He got it right. But God did not create things in an unfinished state and then allow them to be completed through natural processes. That is not at all what Scripture teaches. You simply will not find evolution anywhere in Genesis. It isn't there. So we have come to the end of Creation Week, but this is just the beginning of the story of God's love for mankind. A familiar verse, John 3:16, tells us, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life." See you in the next video. Thanks for watching the Bible Brick Channel. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe below. And check out our other videos. You can find links to all our videos on BibleBrick.com. That's Bible-Brick.com.